Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm here, I just got to work. I was asleep when I got the news. I was asleep when I got the news. So hopefully, let's talk about it. Let's talk about how Luke Getsy got fired last night, and I wasn't even there. I didn't even know about it. I didn't even know about it. Good morning, Dominique. I was asleep when he got fired. I was asleep. I had my notifications off and all that. So I didn't even know about it. So we're gonna get down to the nitty gritty of things though. We definitely wanna get down to the nitty gritty of things. Make sure y'all come on in, hit that like button, and subscribe to the channel, man. Luke gets fired. He sucks. That's right. He does suck. He does suck. He does absolutely sucks. So, I mean, Luke Getsy gets fired, and two other coaches get fired, according to Tom Pelissero. Good morning, Springs. What's up, man? Yeah, Luke Getsy gets fired, and I try to tell y'all in the beginning of the off season, I did not want this guy as our OC. And I just feel like I didn't want Luke Getsy from the beginning. If anybody watched me and you know how I felt about Luke Getsy in the beginning, I try to tell y'all that Luke Getsy was not fit to be the Raiders offensive coordinator. He just was not fit. People try to give him the benefit of the doubt. People try to say that maybe it was Justin Fields' fault on how Justin Fields played in Chicago. No, absolutely not. It's not Justin Fields. It wasn't Justin Fields' fault, because if you look at him over in Pittsburgh before he so-called lost his job to Russell Wilson. Let's be completely funky here. I don't think he should have lost his job to Russell Wilson. He was playing pretty well and being coached up really well. But for him to be hired as the Raiders head coach, it comes to a situation with this. Number one, Tom Telesco, I don't think he picked Luke Getsy to be his offensive coordinator when it comes to the GM. Oh, yeah, no fucks given. Thank you. No fucks given. But, yeah, so basically, when it comes to this situation, I knew this was going to happen. I've been calling for his head for a long time. Thank you, Jason. I appreciate it. The Ravens offensive coordinator is having a great year. It is. But, Scott Turner is going to be probably the new offensive coordinator for the rest of the year. But what does this do for the Las Vegas Raiders? That's the question. What happens now with the Las Vegas Raiders? Do we still continue to tank? Because we got a lot of teams that's 2-7 right now. We have a lot of teams that's 2-7 right now. And right now, if the season ended, the New England Patriots would have the number 1 overall pick. What's up, Gregor John? What's going on, everybody? But yeah, man, I've been calling for this man's head all year long, and people on the Nothing But Raider podcast, people thought that Luke Getsy wasn't an issue, and obviously he was, because he hired his quarterbacks coach, which was James Craig, which James Craig is a terrible quarterbacks coach, which we fired him too. We fired the offensive line coach, didn't know who the offensive line coach was, so I didn't care for him to be fired. But I've been calling for their heads for the long time, for the longest time. And that's why I ended my live stream, my play-by-play, because I refuse to do play-by-play where I see zero fucking effort. If I don't see effort at all, then I'm not going to watch. I'm not going to watch it. It does nothing. Scott Turner is no better watch. I mean, he might be better than Luke Getsy. He might not be better for us, but he might be better than Luke Getsy. We're not good. We're not good enough to tank. We suck. No more wins. Well, obviously, it's a lot of teams that's looking right now. If you want to look at the top 2 teams, that's 2-7. That if the season ended today, like, let's be honest, there's a lot of teams that's 2-7. The Giants, the Saints, the Jaguars, us, Carolina, so we just not a good enough football team overall. I think, me personally, I felt like I'm not a big fan of AP being the head coach either. Let's keep it funky. But at the same time, y'all didn't really put him in position to succeed with this roster. If you're the Las Vegas Raiders, because let's take a memory lane back. Let's take a stroll down memory lane. We hired AP in this past all season without even hiring a GM. That's one. That's one. That's one. Number one, we hired AP before we hired the GM. That's one. Number two, when we hired the GM, I think Mark Davis and AP already had the roster in place. So when it comes to making moves, Tom Telesco can't make the moves that he makes because he was hired after the coach was hired. Now, my question is, will be Tom Telesco? If Tom Telesco was hired before AP was hired, will AP be the coach right now? Got to think about that. And then let's talk about another thing. Let's take another memory lane. The coaching staff was still being put together when Tom Telesco was not even in the building yet. So did really Tom Telesco had anything to do with this coaching staff at all? Absolutely not. This was all Mark Davis. I can't blame Tom Telesco for this. People can say, oh, fire Telesco too. No, but how can we blame Tom Telesco when Tom Telesco really didn't have no input on the head coach? He had no input on the coaching staff. This was a Mark Davis move. This was a Mark Davis move. Anybody can see that this was a Mark Davis move. To have AP come in there, have him pick his own coaches, knowing how inexperienced AP is to ever being a head coach. So all this boils down to Mark Davis. But should the Raiders still tank? And I think we should still tank. I think we have nothing to play for, but I think how I'm feeling now with Max Crosby saying 5 losses in a row, it sucks that he hates losing. So the trade deadline is Tuesday. I don't think the Raiders make any moves in the trade deadline. Mark Davis already came out and said he's not trading Max Crosby. Possibly, I heard some rumors about Jacoby Myers being supposed to be traded too. Yeah, but President of Operations needs to be blamed too. They need to be blamed too, though. But y'all let him bring in a guy like Luke Getsy when I said from year after year after year, he destroyed careers. Y'all can say what y'all want about Gardner Minshew being a Raider, but I bet you any amount of money, what's going on around Jeremy, I bet you any amount of money, right, that if Gardner Minshew left the Las Vegas Raiders, he'll be back to the form before he came to the Raiders. And I'm going to just be completely honest with you. Because one thing about Luke Getsy, he kills quarterbacks' careers. We saw it. We saw it in Chicago. But people wanted to give this man the benefit of the doubt. Oh, it's AP, is this, is that. AP don't call the offensive play calling. AP is more of a defensive guy, if you want to take a look at it. Am I a big fan of Scott Turner being a new OC? No, because I really don't know much about Scott Turner. I really don't know much about him. I mean, I know he used to be the offensive coordinator for the Commanders a couple of years back, where he had a terrible stint with the Washington Commanders. But now, what's up, Darren? I am happy that the team Las Vegas Raiders fired Getsy. He is terrible. Offensive coach Scott Turner is better than him. I think we tank for a quarterback, Shedeur Sanders. Okay, so y'all have to understand, right? Yeah, I don't mind tanking for a quarterback. But there's other positions we need to help that quarterback succeed. Now, if you look at the younger quarterbacks that came into the league, right? They was built off of free agency drafting and protection and a good defense. Why you think Jaden Daniels is so good at the Commanders right now. Because what they did, they went out and got protection for him. That's one. He already had Terry McLaurin, but they added a little couple more pieces around it. That's two. They have a good defense. That's three. So if you're going to tank for a quarterback, you got to give that man protection. And our offensive line is abysmal right now. The offensive line is abysmal at this point. So for us to say tank for a quarterback, we need to tank for a quarterback, offensive line, wide receiver, and not even tight end. We had Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers is our future. And you see what they did with but the thing about it is with Patrick Mahomes, he has a great coach in Andy Reid. But mind you, every receiver that came through there that he won a Super Bowl with revived their careers. Like, let's be honest, Juju Smith-Schuster with the Pittsburgh Steelers, he had one good year there, and then his career went to shits, and then he went to the Kansas City Chiefs, revived his career. But we need to address these issues to go get players, qualified players, not players that's past their prime like Cody Whitehair. Cody Whitehair is past his prime. We all know that. The offensive line got bullied yesterday in the Bengals game. So Luke Getsy is done. Tom Telesco, I really hope you put your thinking cap on, because it's time for you to go get a quarterback, because you did draft Justin Herbert, knowing the Chargers are not a great football team, but Justin Herbert is a good quarterback. He's a good quarterback, probably a top 10 quarterback in this league. But what I can say is this: Tom Telesco know how to draft quarterbacks. Let that man run the draft. Let that man run the draft and run free agency. He know how to bring players in. But now he has a year under his belt, and now we don't know if AP is going to be gone. Because AP, I mean, with this roster's not great either with or without AP. People might say, oh, Josh McDaniels is a better coach than AP. I mean, if you want to be honest with you, Josh McDaniels had a better roster. Everybody on this roster is not the same when Josh McDaniels was there last year. Not everybody, but majority. And to hear that Luke Getsy got fired, I thought it made a lot of sense. It made a lot of sense for Luke Getsy to get fired. I've been asking for his head every single week. If y'all watched the Nothing But Raider podcast on Tuesday nights, which I haven't done in a while, but if I have watched, the Commitment to Excellent podcast on Saturdays, which I haven't done in a while, you see that I've been asking for Luke Getsy's head. And I finally get my wish. Mind you, I was asleep last night. I was asleep last night when I heard the news. Like, I went to bed early last night. I was not waking up to do a live stream video about Luke Getsy being fired. I just was not doing it. But I'm at work right now. I don't clock in until like another half hour. So I have some time to come on here and talk to y'all. But we definitely need a franchise quarterback. We do. But my thing is this, Raider Nation. If things don't go well with a rookie quarterback in his first year, we can't complain. We can't complain. Because I feel like a quarterback is more than just a quarterback that needs savior for this Las Vegas Raiders team. Because I could really talk about a lot of things that needs to be saving with this Las Vegas Raiders team, and starting with Mark Davis. That man does not want to win. I don't care if we go get a franchise quarterback. I don't care if we have the best offensive line in football. I don't care if we have the number one defense in the league next year. I don't care. Mark Davis does not want to win as a Las Vegas Raider. You know why? Because he's making money. He's making money. It's all about profit. It's all about money. He don't care that, most, he doesn't care that more visitors come to Allegiant Stadium. He doesn't care. You see that WrestleMania is going to be there next year for a 2-night event. It's about the money. He's not worried about winning. And this is why, God bless his soul, I wish Al Davis was still here in some ways. Because right now he could be turning over in his grave the way Mark Davis has ran his team in the last 5 years. So if Mark Davis is pulling like a Jerry Jones type of thing in Dallas. He want to have his name and everything, have it say so. Let the football operations run the football stuff. You just be a damn owner. That's it. Just be an owner. Let Tom Telesco do his job as a GM. Make some trades in the draft. Go let all the football stuff behind you, Mark Davis, and just be an owner and sit on your ass with that damn haircut. That's where I'm at with it. That's exactly what I'm at with it. But Luke Getsy getting fired, it was writings on the wall, y'all. It was writings on the wall. The incompetence of this offense. You have one good drive for 9 weeks. You had one good offensive drive for 9 freaking weeks. Mike Tomlin could get it done with AOC. I agree with that. I agree with that because it's the incompetence of coaching. We should have got rid of him a long time ago. A long time ago. Oh, I had to crack my back. I'm sorry. But a long time ago. We should have got rid of him by at least week 4, week 5. At least that. Or week 3. But we see the incompetence every single week. Nothing changed. He had those script plays in the first quarter that we drive right down the field, scored a touchdown, and that's it. That's it. Other than that, we don't see nothing from the offense. And people was mad about Gardner Minshew being benched for Desmond Ridder. I mean, how many times has Gardner Minshew been benched this year for AOC and for Desmond Ridder now? Like, I understand that Jack Jones had the pick 6. We wasn't coming back in that game. Offensively, we stinked. So even that he did catch the pick 6, it doesn't matter who the quarterback was, we wasn't coming back. Because Luke Getsy's a terrible play caller. And he does not. The internet, that offense sucks. Oh, okay. Yeah, like, I don't know if it's my internet or whatever, but like, I got the Wi-Fi on, but I don't know if you're talking about, but the offense sucks. Like, so many things happened in the off season. It was already, like, things were already coming to fruition. Everything was already coming to fruition. Going into this season, we knew it was already rumors about Davante Adams being traded to the Jets. We knew that before the season even started. We knew that. And then we had AP with the business decision quotes. Then you had AP liking posts about him possibly being traded to the Jets. And then we lose Josh Jacobs because the Las Vegas Raiders didn't want to match the offer with the Green Bay Packers. Mind you, Tom Telesco was not there yet. I don't think Tom Telesco was there yet, if I'm not mistaken. So this is all boiled down from the all season. Losing Josh Jacobs. We already knew Davante Adams was out the door. It's a possibility that Jacoby Myers might be traded during the trade deadline. Who knows? There's been rumors about that. So we gotta make it make sense, man. We gotta make it make sense. This is owner Mark Davis doing this, not Tom Telesco. And I kind of feel like Mark Davis has set up AP for failure. I understand that AP is a young coach. Never been a head coach in the NFL. Never been a head coach. And we need a running game. We need an offensive line to have a running game. And people fail to forget, if you do not have an offensive line, you don't have a running game. If you do not have an offensive line, you do not have a quarterback. If you do not have an offensive line, you don't have receivers, because that 5 core plus your tight end, which is Brock Bowers, is the reason why everything else works, of all your skill players working. That's just how it is. And Luke Getsy didn't draw up the correct plays to set up for success. And this is why he got fired. But the question is AP out the door? Is AP out the door? Because, I mean, I understand that he's a first time head coach. And I understand that he never been a head coach in this league before. But look at the roster that he was given. Look at the roster he was given. I already knew the offensive line was already going to be the shits. I already knew it. But look at the roster that he has. Who can he rely on outside of Max Crosby on that defense side of the ball? Outside of Max Crosby and Robert Spillane. Who can you really rely on? You can't. Offensively, outside of Jacoby Myers and Brock Bowers, who else can you rely on? You can't. You got a few dogs on this team, and everybody is second and third string players that's on this roster. No, Dominique Telesco couldn't set up AP for failure, and I'm gonna tell you why. And I'm gonna tell you why that Telesco didn't set up AP for failure, because AP was hired before Telesco got there. So who really set up somebody for failure? It really was Mark Davis that set him up for failure, because Telesco was not hired until AP got hired. So it really was Mark Davis. Because if you notice, we already had our head coach. And then we went out and got Tom Telesco as a GM. So they actually did it backwards. Instead of getting a GM first and then hiring a coach, you hired the coach first and then went and got the GM. That doesn't make sense to me. So Mark Davis was really the one that set up AP. Because honestly, AP probably wouldn't have been the coach if Tom Telesco was hired first. Let's be realistic here. AP was hired as the head coach before we even had a GM. So Telesco is really being set up for failure. Because he really didn't have no say-so this offseason. We really haven't heard from Tom Telesco all season as a GM. You ever thought about that? The Sandra Morgan experience. Listen, he's back. I'm glad to see you here for the shit show. I've been here for the shit show, bro. I've been here for the shit show. We should have traded for offensive lineman Miller for Trip Williams from the Raiders from the 49ers. Trip Williams was not going to come here, bro. Dude, Trip Williams really want to be a part of this incompetent of an offense like Luke Getsy was running all year? I don't think he would. And I'm not getting all crazy with you, Dominique. I'm just saying, like, people don't want to put the blame on Mark Davis when Mark Davis started this from the beginning. Getsy got fired, and that's fine, but why our defense allowed Burrow to throw 5 TDs? Ain't nobody talking about the defense. Honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. I think this defense got tired of holding up their they got tired of holding up their parts of the agreement. I think the defense was tired of holding up their bargain, because in the last night, before this game came between the Cincinnati Bengals, right? Our defense was the reason why our offense was on the field so much. When our defense was able to get stops or get 3 and outs for the offense was just incompetent. The offense could not move the football after the first drive. So I think the defense was like, man, fuck it. Our offense ain't going to help us. Our offense is not going to help us. So fuck it. We're just going to let Joe Burrow do what he do. And that's what I think what happened. Honestly. It got sick of carrying the team. It got sick of it. Look at how long the defense is on the field. The numbness goes hand in hand. You expecting too much from the defense. Exactly. You're expecting too much from the defense where the offense is not helping the defense. You have to help each other out. And I think this was the worst. This game against Cincinnati Bengals was the worst outing for the defense this year. The worst. We did better against the Kansas City Chiefs last week than we did against Cincinnati Bengals yesterday. So, I mean, hey, good morning. But that's exactly what it was. Luke Getsy set this offense up for failure. I mean, and I'm gonna bet y'all. Shout out to the 18 that's in the chat, man. Shout out to y'all. Good morning. But shout out to y'all, man. Shout out to y'all. Make sure y'all hit the like button too, man. Y'all gotta hit the like button. We got 19 in the chat. You only got 9 likes. Hit the like button, man. But the defense just got tired, man. The defense has games where they take a week off and it happens this season. They're tired of this offense. They are. They are very tired of this offense looking incompetent. You have one good drive, and then the rest of the way, we have no clue. It's just the small details of it too. Getsy think he's too smart and is too smart for your own good. And that's exactly what happened. He was too smart for his own good. He thought that his job was secured. His job is not secured. But out of all of this that went down, there's so many things that happened prior to the 9 weeks. We seen our quarterbacks coach. We seen our offensive line coach get fired. And we got our offensive coordinator that got fired. Deservedly so. But this all starts at the top, y'all. When Mark Davis hired a head coach before hiring a GM. What's going on, DJ Kid? What's going on? When you hire a head coach before you hire a GM, you already knew shit was going to happen. Then once that happened, coaches was already being hired by Mark Davis and AP. Tom Telesco didn't have no say in the coaching staff. This is just from the outside looking in. But I feel like he had no say when it comes to the coaching staff. I feel like he had no say when it comes to whatever it was. Mark Davis was doing everything without Tom Telesco. And it started to boil over. It started to boil over. The defense also played badly against Carolina and Denver. But you have to understand why, though. They was on the field majority of the time. Craig Small. There have been times where in that Denver game that we got Bo Nix in that office off the field. It gave us chances to win, get chances to score. We end up getting interceptions until it got into like the 3 or 4 yard line in what? You know? Good morning. So these hires and firings go through the president, Sandra Morgan. I mean, it might go through the Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders president. It might just go through her. But it still goes through Mark Davis as well. Mark Davis had a lot to do with that. And I think Sandra Morgan is just a yes woman to Mark Davis. She's a yes woman. They played bad against Carolina because if you look at that game through and through with Carolina and Denver, if you look at that game through and through, you could definitely see how bad the offense was. There's so many opportunities the offense had because of the defense. The defense got tired. They said, forget y'all. Because Luke Getsy was terrible as a play caller. If she don't have nothing to do with football decisions, then hey, I don't know. Mark Davis needs to get out of it. The defense is playing so bad and soft against Carolina and Denver and Pittsburgh too, though. But we was all in them games, though. Y'all have to understand. We was in those games until our offense couldn't be on the field. If you go back and look at the time of possessions of those games, the Carolina game, we had under 20 minutes of time of possession on offense. The Denver game, under 20 minutes of time of possession on offense. The Pittsburgh game, almost like 12 to 15 minutes of time of possession on offense. So majority of the time, our defense was on the field because our offense couldn't sustain drives. It has to work hand in hand. It has to work together. The more sustained drives you have on offense, the fresher your defense is. And I think the Las Vegas Raiders defense has gotten fed up. They got fed up. And then, we lose Marcus Epps. We lose so many defensive players. We lose a lot of offensive players. We lose a lot. But Broski Bear, Luke Getsy is a disgrace that had no business coaching in the NFL. Unfortunately, the Bears hired Luke Getsy 2.0 and Shea Waldron And I really hope that we don't do a Luke Getsy 2.0. And I just hope that it's not a Luke Getsy 2.0 either. Because at the end of the day, I still feel like, I mean, this Raiders team could be good if we fix the roster. We have to fix this roster. Like, if we want to go out and tank for Shador Sanders or Cam Ward, we have to put weapons. And we have to put an offensive line around him. This is why C.J. Stroud and Jaden Daniels and all these good young quarterbacks are succeeding in the league because, well, I mean, I don't know about C.J. Stroud this year. His offensive line has not been the same from last year, but why they had so much early success is because these organizations, these GMs, find ways to get them weapons. You see, even before the tear ACL with the Houston Texans, they went out and got Stephon Diggs. We need to go out and get a competent wide receiver to complement your quarterback. And we don't even have a complement quarterback to complement a good wide receiver right now. Can we hire AI as a play caller? That is hilarious. That's hilarious. But I got 10 more minutes with y'all because I got to get to work soon. I got to clock in and do all that stuff. So I got like 10 more minutes with y'all. 10 more minutes with y'all, man. But yeah, the Raiders should tank. But it's so much that has to happen for us to try to get at least a top 3 pick. We need the Patriots to win a game. We need the Jaguars to win a game. Right now, if the season ended today, it'll be Patriots and Jaguars as the number 1 and 2 overall pick. We'll be sitting at like number 6 right now because there's so many teams that's 2 and 7, from the New York Giants to the Jacksonville Jaguars to the New England Patriots to us. Carolina, we need Carolina to win in the game. We need so many things to happen for us to be a top 3 pick. We need everybody else to win and us to keep losing. I don't want us to win another game this year. I just don't. I don't want us to win another game this year. So I'll be picking against my Raiders in my picks and predictions every week from now on. Because I want a top 5 pick. Honestly, I want a top 3 pick. Good morning. Yeah, like I want a top 3 pick at this point. So it just happens that way, you know. But at the end of the day, man, that's what happens. And Luke Getsy, I'm happy he's fired. But let's see what Scott Turner's going to do. Put in the practice squad. Put in the practice squad. Yeah, I want to see Ramel Keaton. I'm a Tennessee Vol fan, so I would love to see Ramel Keaton go out there. Give the young guys a chance, man. Give the young guys a chance. Honestly, Dylan Lobby can stay on the practice squad. Let him stay inactive for the rest of the year. Do you think fire AP in the all season, Darian, or no? I don't think you fire AP. I think you got to give him a better roster. You got to give him better coaches. He has to have a better coaching staff. The coaching staff that he has now doesn't work. And I feel like when AP got hired, I feel like Mark Davis made these hires for AP. AP didn't make these hires for his staff. I think Mark Davis made, and I'm just speculating because I'm not sure, but I'm just seeing how it looked. I don't think AP would have hired Luke Getsy as an offensive coordinator. He kept Patrick Graham. You know what I'm saying? He kept Patrick Graham as a defensive coordinator, but you might have to, as a head coach, if you're AP right now, you need to wipe out all your assistant coaches. That would be your best bet, is to wipe out your whole staff and have Telesco build your staff. What fits the offense when it comes to these certain players? What help with the roster? There's so many things that go into just coaching the game of football. You got to find the right personnel that fits your coach's scheme. You got to fight the right coaches that works with you. I don't think like a 1 year. That's what I'm saying. A 1 year tank won't get it done. Let's just be honest here. You said Pierce don't have no business being the head coach. You can say that about a lot of coaches in the league right now. Brian Dable, look what he doing in New York. There's a lot of coaches outside of AP that don't need to be a coach right now. That's 2-7. Brian Dable. I mean, even though Doug Peterson does have a Super Bowl championship with the Philadelphia Eagles, but he's not doing well over in Jacksonville. You know, you got Gerard Mayo. Do Gerard Mayo deserve to be a head coach in New England? Absolutely not. They have a quarterback situation too. The New Orleans Saints with Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen need to go. He's not meant to be a head coach. So there's a lot of coaches in the league outside of AP that doesn't deserve to be a coach. I just feel like out of all of those coaches, AP has the weakest roster. He has the weakest roster out of all those teams. So that's just my personal opinion on it. But I got like 4 more minutes, and I gotta get off here. I got like 4 more minutes, but I just feel like if we go out and fire AP, right, and get a new head coach. I mean, what are we actually telling? What are we actually doing? Like, are we going to do this? Like, we've been turnover on coaches for so long. Everyone got emotional and caught up and gave this brother a chance stuff by hiring Antonio Pierce. The Patriots made a mistake by hiring Mayo. They did the same thing you did. I mean, but you gotta learn some way somehow. He's learning on the job to be a head coach. He's learning on the job. I said we get rid of Lewis and Coughlin and Shelton. How AB could do it on his own for the rest of the season. I don't even see them on the sideline, honestly. AP needs players to overcome the successful head coaches in our division alone. That's right. That's right. But, I mean, if Mark Davis make the move to fire Antonio Pierce, then, I mean, I don't know. What that's really telling about the Raiders franchise. Because you got to think about it, Tom Brady's there now. Tom Brady has to say so who gets fired and who gets hired as head coach too. It's not just Mark Davis. So what if Tom Brady, even though he only has 10% ownership of the Las Vegas Raiders, he still has a say so of who he wants to hire and fire. So what if Tom Brady is telling Mark Davis not to fire AP and just go out and get him a competent quarterback, go out in the draft and get drafted free agency and get some quality players that's in their prime that still can play this game at a high level, not play this game as a mediocre level. So that's what I'm really saying. That's what I'm really saying about it. So if AP is out, then hey, it is what it is. But I'm happy that Luke Getsy is gone because that's what we're really talking about here. Is Luke Getsy. Like, hopefully we don't win any more games this year. I don't want the Raiders to win any more games this year. I want us to get a top 5 pick, top 5, top 3 pick. Everybody else needs to win. Every other team that's on this list that's 2-7 needs to win, besides us. We're gonna see what Scott Turner could do as the OC. The question is, will Desmond Ridder be the starting quarterback for not this week, because in week 10 the Raiders are on a bye week. Thank God. Because the Raiders are on a bye week. Thank God. I don't have to worry about watching any Raiders games on Sunday. I like to see AP work this out on a 3-year contract. And that's another thing too. We didn't we end up not giving Cliff Kingsbury 3 years. Just imagine if Cliff Kingsbury was here as the OC. The offense might have looked a pretty little different. It might look a little different. So you just never know. You just never know. It's just all what if. What if? And Mark Davis didn't want to give Cliff Kingsbury 3 years. I think that would have been fine. You see what Cliff Kingsbury doing with young quarterbacks You see what he did with Kyler Murray. You see what he did with Jay and Daniels right now. And that would have secured a little bit of AP's job if you would have found a great offensive coordinator that could put points on the board and find players in his personnel. I hope we start Ritter against Miami off the bye week. Darian and Minshew is trash. Let me tell you, people can say Gardner Minshew probably was trash as a Las Vegas Raider, but I can say this though. Gardner Minshew will leave the Las Vegas Raiders, and he will be back being one of the top backup quarterbacks in the league. The man was just a Pro Bowler last year. You notice when we go get quarterbacks from other teams, they don't succeed here. Don't y'all notice that? The last person that was succeeded here, we actually drafted, and that was Derek Carr. So, with that being said, that tells you, when we go out and get quarterbacks in free agency, it doesn't work for us. It doesn't work. Watch. I bet you Gardner Minshew will leave the Las Vegas. He probably will ask for his release just to get out of there. He will go somewhere else and be better than he was this year. It's a fact. It's a known fact. But I'm going to head off, y'all. I'm going to head off. I got like 1 more minute left before I'm done. I am going to head off here because time is about to start. Our organization is the issue, not the players. Bingo. Thank you, Hanzo. Thank you, Hanzo. But I am going to head off here, though, because I got to start working. Time to clock in. So with that being said, y'all, I want to thank y'all for tuning in to Good Morning Nation. We're going to be doing these every day now in the morning. Good Morning Nation, thank y'all so much for tuning in. I might have some videos uploaded for y'all later on if we do get some Raider news. But if this is your first time being at the Nothing But Raider Podcast YouTube channel, we highly suggest that y'all subscribe, hit the bell button for all your Las Vegas Raiders news. And, you know, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all being there for the Bengals game. I ended the live stream in the third quarter. But thank y'all so much for tuning in, man. We greatly appreciate it. Raider Nation for life, always. Y'all see it. I got the real owner on my shirt. And that's Mark Davis. Al Davis. So comment, like, and subscribe, man. We'll see y'all. Have a great Monday. I will be live on my other channels, which is D Hopkins Sports Live. Make sure y'all go check that out as well. And I'll see y'all later, man. Y'all have a great Monday, and peace out.